Retro Rob plays everything.
Hey, Rob here, and welcome to XD Live, where we'll be talking about N64 emulation today. I have avoided this topic for a while, and largely it is because of the fact that I think that N64 emulation is probably not as far as it should be on this platform. By this platform, I mean the Android platform, not specifically for the GPD XD. I hear people, oh, it's perfect. Yeah, all right, you played maybe 5 games on it. It's not perfect. It has significant problems, which is kind of frustrating considering how long we've had N64 emulation in general and how weak computers were. The first actually playable N64 emulator came out in 1999. That was Ultra HLE, and I remember playing it, and it played on a processor that was like multiply slower, by multiple factors slower than the processor being used in the GPD XD today, or indeed pretty much any Android device of the day, of today, being 2016. And it's frustrating to see that, you know, it just hasn't really, it's come further, but it just really hasn't ever gelled. And part of the reason of that is the complexity and power of the hardware. The N64 had just fairly complex hardware. It wasn't too bad, I hear, to write for, but it makes it difficult to emulate. And unlike something like the Sega Saturn, you can't just brute force the heck out of it to get it to play. Now, the XD's problems with the Sega Saturn emulation are just related to the XD. And by the way, I did check it again recently because I was going to make an update video, and I still had problems with it. So if you guys are doing Sega Saturn emulation and it's working okay, let me know, and let me know what you're playing and what platform you're using to play it. But anyway, today we are going to be using Moopan64 for Android. This is the main menu. As usual, I'm going to tell you, fortunately, you know, you don't need a, there's no ROM file to pick up for emulation, but you do have to set the directory. This is how you do it. You can, of course, go up to the parent folder. If you haven't seen me do this before, let's just go up to the top. And what I want you to look for is MNT, that's mount. And if you are storing things to an external SD card, they're going to be on the external SD. If they're on the internal, obviously they're going to be on the internal. You can download ROMs directly to this device and unpack them. I did do that with several of these. If you would like to see a video on me doing that, do me a favor, drop me a line. I'll do something on it. But I've done it before, kind of in passing, and it's pretty easy to do, so not too bad. Alright, so let's go to the external SD. We're going to go into our N64 folder, and I'm just going to pick a game. I'm not going to do it at random because I want to show you some things that are interesting. And the first thing I'm going to show you is Conker's Bad Fur Day. This has a hard time running on many platforms, and some of the settings you need to know. These core settings right here are really important. Oh, wait. Where is it? Video. Sorry. Hit the wrong one. Okay. This you're going to change probably several times depending on the game. I found that Glaz 2 Rice is the one that seems to work really well with Conker's Bad Fur Day. By really well, I mean at least make it playable. Actually, let me show you what it does. Here, let's back up. Let's change that. Video. And by the way, if you want to see my settings, I'll just scroll through it real quick. I do have fog effects on. I currently do not run high resolution textures. However, you can. It doesn't seem to have any problems, but you need like a imported texture pack for it. So, you know, you're going to need that. I'm not going to show you how to install that in this video. Texture filtering is on. Most of these other things are off. By the way, if you have a favorite setting, also let me know that. I'm always interested. I do stretch the screen. It's probably not the best way to do things because it does cause some glitches occasionally. I just like the look of it going edge to edge. And then go back, plugins, and I'm just going to show you the original way I did this. This is the default setting. By the way, I'm using Moopan64 plus AE. It's like $3. I just get sick of ads. That's the only reason why I run them. There are some emulators that... Oh, crap, it crashed. No! No! Anyway, there are some ones that you can get for free, so I wouldn't worry about it too much. And you can also download some. So, all right, here we can see that. Yeah, it looks terrible. But if I go back here, exit the game, back up a little bit more, go to settings, and go into plugins again. And I will now enable the other plugin. Now let's play back in it. Resume. Might want to restart it in some cases, by the way. But look, it looks a lot better. So that's the first thing to note. If something's not really running very well, you might try changing that. I found that the first one works well on most games, but on this particular game it doesn't. Not real happy with the performance on this game, but don't worry, there's games that do better. Alright. So I've shown you one of the things I want to show you. Exit. By the way, you can save. There's a save. You see the save slot? You can just hit save or save to file, and you can save the game wherever you want. Really nice feature. Back up a little bit more. Okay, let's take a look at settings again. Input. The controller is on. Make sure that it is indeed on. I use the octagonal joystick limits. You don't have to do that, actually. And then, of course, you can customize the controller, which is pretty nice. And that's right there. Nice of them to draw that out for you. No, 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 no. Isn't that cool? All right, back up. Works fairly well, except... I don't know, the mappings are a little weird, but it works okay. Alright, back up. This is kind of a problem because, there we go. Exit that. Good. Yeah, you can't hit your B button to get out of there. That kind of sucks, right? Okay, so back up a little bit more. I'm going to switch my plugin back. It's not the fastest plugin in the world. It just works really well for some things. All right. By the way, if you select none, you won't have any video. Don't do that. Switch games, and then let's take a look at Donkey Kong 64. I'm going to load a backup that I made of it, though. And oh wait, might just be able to resume here. You can do it. As you can see, it actually looks pretty good and plays pretty well. There's a little bit of graphical glitching on the title screen when you first start up. Not when you first start up, but the intro story screen. There is a little bit of corruption on that. I tried a different plugin, it didn't correct it, but it may. Because I didn't do a whole lot of messing around, and of course the scene kept moving while I was doing this, so. But yeah, really nice. And as you can see, it plays pretty smooth. There's not a whole lot of glitching. Not too bad. Back up. And back up. And another game. Mario Kart 64. This one's kind of funny because you do have to change plugins for this, as I recall. Or at least one of the plugins worked better than the other. But it plays really well. This is a good game to play and show off this particular system with 64 emulation. All right, so you see how... yeah, you see how that's kind of messed up. let's fix that real quick. That's one of the problems when you hose around with settings, and why it's really important to hose around with the settings, because you can forget you changed something, and then you go into another game, and boom, you're hosed in that game, which is kind of too bad. But it's life. Let's see. Switch it over to this one, I think is the one. Resume. There we go. And you can do some other hosing around too to correct it, but there we go. This game really is a very good game in general. I really don't give the Mario Kart games enough credit. If you're curious, this is, I believe, the 50cc competition. So pretty darn nice, and it does a good job of smoothing it out, and the small screen's really nice for this. It probably looks like way better on my XD than it does on this screen, just because it's such a small screen versus what, hey, there we go, versus what you're seeing, unless you're watching this in a postage stamp size window. And Pokémon Stadium is pretty much a complete wreck on this. I did try all three engines. I'm not going to bother with it because it's so bad. It is so bad in this, and it's really too bad because I kind of like Pokémon Stadium. But hey, all right, I'll show you it just for a second, just to show you what's wrong with it. I waited so long to do the N64 video. I suppose I could show it. Alright, so this is in a battle, and as you can see, it's kind of a mess. And here's the other problem. My controls do not appear to be working, really. I don't know, they're really screwed up. Yep, this is it. And in the intros, the graphics are all messed up, so it's really not worth doing. By the way, sorry about that bump there. So there you go, I showed you awful. And let's find another game. Super Mario 64 is really good. By the way, if you have had the problem where you get like really distorted emblems in the castle and some of the textures are messed up, I can show you how to fix that. I think I'm in the castle at this point in this game when I saved it. Wait. Yeah, you can see, hold on. I'm gonna turn that down a little bit. Sorry about that. Otherwise, Nintendo will come at me with full force. Anyway, you can see it plays really good. I think I'm gonna go, wait, back to the castle. Exit course, and I want to show you, yeah, there we go. See how it's messing up? All right, let's show you how to fix this. I'm going to go back. I'm going to exit. Back up. Go into settings. Of course, go into plugins. All right, what video plugin am I using? That one. Let's switch over to this one. I think this is the one that does it correctly. And there we go. As you can see, works perfectly. There's some little boxes around that. I'm gonna have to check that. That is, I believe, something I messed with earlier. You probably won't have that because you probably won't set to the craziness that I set to, but back up a little bit. Go to settings. Where is it? Auto detect. I think, is it this one or is it taking the fog off? We'll check. Oh wait, here we go. I think this is it and this is it. Alright, so I've turned on alpha test, I've turned on depth test, and I have turned on RGBA 888 mode. Let's resume. There, yeah, that cleared it up. I can't remember exactly which one it is, but it's one of those that clears it up. And as you can see, these are all perfect too. And this points out too, you know, the fact that you might have messed something else up when you're playing around with one setting. It might throw another game off. So you're constantly messing with these settings, and it's one of the reasons I really don't like N64 emulation. That said, this particular game is great to play on the emulator. The only thing you're really missing is the controller, which in the case of the N64, I do find that controller to be rather important to have in many games. So I've got an N64 downstairs, and I actually play these games on my N64, but, you know, not everybody has the room to put in a spare console every time they want to not emulate something. So, and plus, you know, you could be on the go and want to play this. So it's a perfectly fine way to play it. I'm talky today. All right, Super Smash Brothers. I was just playing it last night, and it was playing really well. So hopefully I didn't hose anything up when I was changing settings. Yeah, there I am. Poor Kirby. I almost kicked Fox's butt yesterday. I don't know what happened. I just kind of crashed out. I think I was not paying enough attention to the game, maybe. Alright, so you see those background flickers? Let's show you again. So I did not have those yesterday, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to exit for a second. And I'm going to take a look. Yeah, I think I have to use a different core here. Let's see. I have to use that one. Play, resume. Or I've just made a total. Yeah, see? Now it clears it up. That's really the first thing you should be trying. I probably should have mentioned that before. And look how good it looks. It plays really well too, so not bad. Oh, I'm a bad player at this though. Really bad. Woo! Keep going. There we go. No, I hate the way he does that. Don't come back. It's so hard to do. The joystick, a jump button would have been nice. They fix that in later editions. There I go into space. Alright, so that's it. That is N64 emulation using Moopan64 on the GPD XD. And like I said, my opinion of it is, you know, hey, if you got to do it, this is the only thing you got to emulate it with, it's fine. You're going to be able to play Mario on it. You're going to be able to play some of the more popular games. But if you're looking for some more obscure games that didn't maybe sell as well, you might have a hard time with it because they really have to customize it every time they want it to play a new game. And that's not due to limitations really with the GPD XD, but it is due to the limitations of emulation in general when you've got a machine that's fairly complex like the N64 and has a lot of nuance. It's just how it is. And you notice how I'm constantly fussing with the games to get them to work. That's another issue with it. You know, you got to keep it in mind. But again, it does a good job at emulating it, as good as any other Android device. It's just N64 emulation is not perfect. All right. Questions or comments, down below. I want to thank you very much for watching this video. I do appreciate it. And I will see you next week with more XD Live. By the way, my GPD win is on its way now. It is in the mail and it is heading towards me. So pretty soon we'll be seeing some video footage of the GPD win. Thanks for watching. Bye.
Retro Rocks gaming videos.